Police officers and first responders wear badges to let their communities know they are here to protect and serve. But it comes at a price. Samantha Horwitz and John Salerno work with police departments across the country to bring valuable recovery, insight resources, and workshops. A Badge of Honor TV brings those professionals to you so we can come together and revitalize communities through a better understanding of what's at stake and what's required for repair. So take a load off and turn up your TV. It's about to get real.
Hey, welcome to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam. We are powered by the OBBM Network, and we are here on Mental Health Monday. Once again, we want to, muscle memory Mondays. That's what we got to do. We got to keep putting this into everybody's head, and you share it. We all battle some issues, and this may help just one person. But today, we're coming into May, and May is a very important month for a lot of us. And it's an educational month to know that, Memorial Day is coming up. And although we have barbecues and cookouts and, we have all the grandkids and everybody else by the pool and enjoying, let's take that time, because Memorial Day to honor our veterans. It's the day to honor the lost ones, not our veterans that are here. It's our lost veterans that actually gave us the right, me and Sam, to be able to speak on this platform. If not for them, we wouldn't be able to speak on this platform. They fought and died in these wars. Raise that red, white, and blue flag in front of your house and raise it proud, because one, you should have it up there every day, but in May, show our veteran community that you are a veteran supporting household. Welcome, Sam.
Hey, John. It is an exciting time. I am super excited to kick this off tonight with our guest. She comes from a military family, just like I do. And I've been aligned with this organization, participating since 2015. So this is my 10th year, and completely honored and blessed to be able to do this journey with you and our amazing team at A Badge of Honor, where we've been able to be aligned in their continuum of care program. And our guests can tell you about that. Everybody should have their flags up year round. We're a patriotic nation. And it is when you see it, at least for me, it really spurs on remembering all of our fallen heroes, not only those that we've lost in our wars, but beyond, in law enforcement, in firefighting. These are the people. They wear the uniforms that answer the call on our worst days, or the worst days for our nation. And it's just an honor and a privilege to have Danielle Applegate with us from Carry the Load. She's a Carry the Load ambassador, but more, she's one badass chick. And I'm going to let her kind of introduce herself and tell everybody watching and listening a little bit about her. So Danielle, welcome to A Badge of Honor TV.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. I'm going to start this out by saying this is my first live stream, and I am a 9th generation veteran. So if you know anything about our community, it is that we are known for potty mouths. So I'm going to try to keep it PG and bleep myself. No, I'm joking. I literally was raised by a Navy sailor mom and a Marine Corps dad. So my really earliest memories as a toddler were the smell of boot black. And in the old days, we used to have to press our uniforms with starch, and it makes a very particular sizzle and smell. And I remember my mom saying, they're not done until they stand up on their own. So
absolutely.
Years and years, I tell you that because that's the formation of my life. I was kind of born into this. I didn't have a choice. 9 generations ago, one of my ancestors raised their right hand, and it's kind of become a family business if you're not afraid of it and you understand what it means. Like I said, I knew how to black boots, so going to the Army didn't faze me. I grew up with some rough stuff. I mean, we were a training military when I was young, but I'm from Camp Lejeune, and I don't know if you guys have heard about toxic water.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was one of those babies, and we lived was born on base. Ran away when I was about 7. My mom left my stepdad in the middle of the night with 4 children under the age of 7. Why am I telling you all this, John? It's something that you said in your intro. If I can just help one person.
That's right.
because
That's
so
right.
often people say, but you couldn't possibly, and then fill in the blank. I'm sure some people have said, you couldn't possibly carry a gun. Look at you, you're so pretty, right? We all make really it's true, Sam, you heard it, I'm sure.
You know,
We make really
you're right.
If my husband was here while he's watching, he'd be like, yeah, if you only knew about that.
Yeah,
I still get razzed for
battle.
parking in the veteran spot at the Harris Teeter down the street, so it happens. No, we ran away in the middle of the night. My mom, we used every social service that was available. So intimate partner violence led to HUD housing and food stamps and WIC. And my mom got a Pell Grant. So she went from being a corpsman in the Navy to getting her nursing degree. And then serving at the Department of Navy as a civilian nurse for the rest of her career. And when I was 17, got out of high school a little early, ran away to the Army. So my parents were gunning, like, who's going to win, the Navy or the Marine Corps? And I said, that sounds like the Army to me. And they were devastated, to say the least. So I served on active duty. I was overseas through training and overseas in South Korea and still 17. So I got awards for being the youngest and perkiest little soldier. And something horrible happened. And again, if telling your story can help help just one person. My roommate died by suicide. And it was horrifying. I was 3,000 miles away from home. I was young. I was in the bosom of this machine that I had grown up thinking would take care of me and the people around me. And that didn't happen. So when I came back stateside, I left active duty. I did join the Guard for a couple of years until my service disability. I exited because I had bad feet. So you can be lacking in so many ways in the military, but you have to be able to run in the Army. And I couldn't. My arches crushed my tendons, and it was the end of what I originally thought was my life of service. But here we are 20 years later, and you can see I'm still doing it. I'm still wearing it.
You're still serving.
Yep.
You're still serving. Maybe not in an official capacity, but you're still serving those who serve. And that's what it takes. You know, and that's what it takes, people like you and everybody in carry the load to just be part of that family to serve others.
It's true. I tell people when they say, how can I help? I'm like, well, I raise $5 at a time. So, any donation will count, or tell me what you're passionate about, because everybody has a story, whether it's homelessness, intimate partner violence, suicide prevention, family members, honoring their memory. You want education, cultural competency. I know Badge of Honor, you guys do a lot of work on that side too. If you are interested, I can find you a home in our community. We will take all efforts. And it is finding the reason and the season that align with your life. I got involved with Carry the Load in 2018. I was working for the Secretary of VA as the first national woman veteran coordinator, which meant my whole job was to go around and tell women veterans about the VA and how we were welcoming them and that we had programs specifically for them. And in the course of that, I got to make a lot of great partnerships with nonprofits. And sadly, at the time, I became a caregiver to one of my Army battle buddies who had terminal cancer. When she passed, I didn't know how to commemorate her passing. She served for 20 years in the Army. She didn't have children. I was the daughter she never wanted, to put it in her words. And Carry the Load really filled that niche for me. It gave me a reason to get out. It gave me a reason to talk about her. It gave me a reason to go to the cemetery where many of my ancestors are buried, and to share it with my kids, because they grow up in a little bit more sanitized version of the world than I think I grew up in. And I'm very proud of that. If we talk about breaking the cycle in the next gen, I'm very, very proud of that. But I never want them to forget where we came from and why we serve the way that we serve. So, and
yeah, I think that's what Carry the Load and what you guys really do best is you can't forget. If you come to Memorial May, especially if you're in the Dallas area, but even beyond, and we'll talk more about how today is the kickoff and what that means across the country. If you participate in one activity with Carry the Load, it truly is life-changing. And it changed my life, like I said, a decade ago when I first started with raising money, and just met a retired cop when I moved here. And he's like, hey, Sam, you got to do this thing called Carry the Load. I'm like, sounds cool. I'm in, and it's been an amazing journey since that time. We've got to take our first break. When we come back, let's talk about your role as an ambassador with Carry the Load. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
Forget Zoom, try Meetin. Meetin is a brand new video meeting service. And not only is Meetin simpler and easier to use and more powerful, Meetin also has the right values. Here at Meetin, we believe in freedom. We believe in privacy. We believe in America. And we are apolitical. Now, to get your free forever version of Meetin, just go to meetin.com, spelled this way. And then where it says promo code, type in the word special. That's your promo code. Okay? So go to meetin.com, type in the word special, and you'll get Meetin free forever. I'm Rick Raditz, and I look forward to serving you as a customer of Meetin.
Hey, welcome back to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam and our special guest, Danielle Applegate, with Ambassador of Carry the Load. If you missed the beginning, we were talking about the battles that everybody has, and sharing your battles may help that one person. But when we brought up why you joined Carry the Load, it's such a heartwarming thing, because I think this is why a lot of people become a part. When we lose somebody that we care about a lot, and if we keep their name alive, we can't get to the cemetery all the time. We can't put flowers all the time. But if we say their name and we carry their photo and we show other people who they are, those heroes will never be forgotten. And that's what Carry the Load is all about. It's who are you carrying for? And that's why it is such an honor to be partnered with you guys.
Well, we're excited to be here. I think we mentioned it a little bit earlier. We kick off the entire month. We call it Memorial May because it's not just one day. I think your intro, we talked about the flag. And I wanted to add to that, if you have an American flag that's in bad condition, they need to be retired officially, not just thrown in the trash. Take it to your local VFW. Every local VFW post has the means to do that. Some American Legion posts, but definitely VFW, just to throw that in there. So we kicked off Memorial May. The reason we do a whole month, we walk 20,000 miles. And we don't just walk 20,000 miles because we can. We walk 5 distinct routes from the Canadian border pretty much all the way across America, connecting our communities to the Veteran National Cemetery Administration. So the VA has 3 big pillars, right? Healthcare, benefits, and then the National Cemetery Administration. And those cemeteries are funded by the VA to be maintained in perpetuity, but a lot of people don't know that. Many of people don't know that there's one in their backyard. And so in order to draw attention between the collaboration between our nonprofit Carry the Load and NCA, we actually fashioned the route so that it stops at those national cemeteries to really bring people in and tie them to the people in your backyard. I live in Northern Virginia for probably 15 years before I realized we have one of the oldest national cemeteries in the country here. And no, I'm not talking about Arlington. Arlington National Cemetery, as amazing as it is owned by the Department of Defense. I know, sorry, I can't help but share all my excessive knowledge. So
no, that's
tell
great.
me if I'm boring you. The states that actually mostly own and maintain the VA cemetery. So here in Alexandria, we have Buffalo soldiers buried here. We have some of the oldest gravestones, so they're shaped differently based on your religion or your time of service. There's different badges that are affixed. And recently the VA has started the Veteran Legacy Program. So there's a QR code on the graves, or you can go to the VA website and look up the name. So when you're in the cemetery, when you bring people in, you can look at that name and look it up, and the families can put the history online. Or you as a visitor can say, hey, I was here today and I visited your dad. When we take the kids, we like to play a game of who can find the oldest headstone, who can find the headstone with the most periods of service, who can find the youngest soldier in the graveyard. So we make it a learning experience and truly interactive while we're actively talking and storytelling amongst ourselves. So it takes us about the whole month. The 5 routes each have a dedicated bus that's wrapped in red, white, and blue, and then some special names and faces that we're honoring for the year. They are switched out year to year. There's a dedicated team made up of volunteers that rides with the bus. We're always excited to see them because there's a couple of guys that have been doing this every year. I personally could not walk that many miles, but I'm so proud that they do it. And so when they come through your area, you can go to our website, carrytheload.org, click on Memorial May, and there'll be a list of the West Coast, East Coast, nationwide, and Midwest routes. You can find a location near you and drop in for a couple miles. Usually it's between 2 and 4 miles. We carry guidons with flags. And if you have somebody special that you want to commemorate, they give you what looks like a runner's bib, and you can write the name and dates of service, dates of life on there, and wear it while you're walking. And the team will actually continue to carry that when your leg is done, all the way down to the huge rally, which I know you guys are going to be a big part of. On Memorial Day itself in Dallas, I think usually there's about 10 or 12,000 people that show up. And it makes me get goosebumps every time I say it. If you've never been around a group of people that just want to share and just want to communicate and just want to learn from one another, it is life-changing. So I'm so excited to be here, because if you can't tell, the reason I became an ambassador is because I can't stop talking about the way that your tank gets refilled. It really does.
It's funny you say that, because between Sam, myself, you, and everybody else who does a nonprofit or works with nonprofit, we're not getting paid for this. It is mentally draining. It's physically draining, but our passion keeps us with it, right? So when we see these things that we've worked all year long, like you guys work all year long to make this happen, when you get to Dallas, it definitely refills that tank, and you're like, I'm ready for next year.
It's amazing. I have changed jobs a couple times, because like the military, I've moved 32 times in my 40 plus years, and I've changed jobs just about as often. And every time I go to a new job, the best part is breaking all my new teammates around the country into my service life and dragging them along with me.
Danielle's got commitment issues.
Listen, I think one of your previous guests talked about ACEs, and like I'm a 9 out of 10 of that. Okay. And that is probably not a great thing. Thank you, VA, for all of the very great mental health care.
It is, but you know what? That's the beauty of it, is that you, by changing so many times, you're introducing your background and what carry the load means and what service means to a whole new group of people. So it just brings more people into the fold. And when you talk about filling your cup, you when you're in Dallas, and it's so cool because we get to meet all of our nonprofit partners. First of all, the night before, we're doing it this year down at Riverstone Park, and then the event kicks off the following day, Sunday and Monday. And it is a somber event. So you're really coming away and introduced to what the real meaning of Memorial Day is. If you come from a service-related family, you know it's not about mattress sales and barbecues. But to walk along the Katy Trail and read the storyboards, and for me and John, we were there on 9/11. That part of our background, lost a lot of people that we know, and to see their names commemorated, and then all of our young people who raise their right hand to say, I'm serving my country because of 9/11, and unfortunately them losing their lives, and reading about them, it is a history lesson. It is a legacy. You can meet the family members of these folks. Carry the Load brought in first responders. And so the Dallas Police Department puts out all of their folks that they have lost. Same with the firefighters. And people come out in turnout gear for the firemen, actually wearing their gear the whole time. You have and you have teams that are out there, and it's the chance to kind of be quiet, if you will, and remember, especially if it's personal and you lost somebody. But it is, you are refilled by knowing, first of all, you're not there by yourself. You're there with other people that are carrying their own load, whatever it may be, and offering a shoulder, offering a small conversation, saying thank you, giving a hug, high fives, whatever it is. We're all one family. We're all one family in Dallas.
So true. And I always say to people who are new to the community, they say, I don't know what to say. And I said, the best thing you can ask is tell me their favorite activity. Tell me your favorite story about the person you're honoring. Tell me something you did together. And that will get people talking, and you walk away thinking, just knowing each other. It does count. It really does connect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We got to take our next break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about, John and I want to touch on these 5 relays that are going on in the nation, and how if you don't want to fly into Dallas, we always encourage that. You can meet up with the relays wherever you are. So we'll touch on that and how you do that when we come right back. Stay tuned, everybody.
Look, when you need to respond to an aggressive situation to protect yourself, your family, or your property, understanding your firearm and legal position are critical. Officers know your skills are only as good as your commitment to training. So know what you're doing. So when you're in a vulnerable situation, we can count on your response. Whether you're a beginner or a licensed gun carrier, Carry in Texas offers basic firearms training, Texas permitless carry courses, license to carry, and basic 2A courses so you can understand the responsibilities, situational awareness, and learn the technical skill required when you carry your firearm. Go to carryintexas.com to find the right course for you. Join me, former United States Secret Service agent Samantha Horwitz, on the range for beginner basics, LTC prep, and range practice. Go to carryintexas.com today. That's carryintexas.com.
Hey, welcome back to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam, and Carry the Load Ambassador Danielle Applegate, who's now ninth generation military, which that is huge. I mean, you could sit for hours and just discuss everything from way back when, 9 generations ago. That's just, and that's what Carry the Load's about. Meet up with people and find out their story. Ask them. They're willing to share, because sharing does help them heal. Ask about the people that are on the boards. Ask the people, and we're going to get into that. I know, Sam, you want to talk about the walk, and that's amazing how people are walking these. I mean, I don't know how many miles, thousands, right?
20,000 miles, yeah.
20,000 last year, yeah.
20,000 miles over the month of May to be here, right in into Rivershon Park, right? They're gonna filter into. So it's amazing. It's something that 14 years, man, it just keeps growing bigger and bigger. And if you've never been a part of it, Sam introduced me to it, and I love it. It's something that I'll always attend and always support.
Yeah, we really want to focus on getting the community out, connecting them with our military, veterans, first responders, the families. So this is a perfect day. It's an easy lift, right? You're not picking up dirty needles out of a riverbed, right? It's kind of something that you can bring the whole family. You can't bring dogs inside the cemeteries, but for the walk around leg of the relay, they're welcome to join. So we always have some interesting guests that join us. Basically, if you go to carrytheload.org, look up the Memorial May event, you can find a location near you on one of the routes. There are, the VA's goal is to have a national cemetery within 2 hours of every veteran. So when you pass as a veteran, you can be buried in a national cemetery and your spouse can be buried with you. They've just about met that. There are some tribal lands that are a little more sparse in some locations in the Midwest. So this year, I think we're hitting 86 of the 160 national cemeteries.
Wow.
So look on the website, find a location near you. If you can't find one, you can still register and walk in your own backyard. I will say, if you register online for the relay, you can put in your size and they will send you a super cool t-shirt. Not this one. This is my fancy ambassador shirt. But every year there's a new t-shirt. And Sam, I don't know about you, but if you've been collecting them, but my kids are in a race for like how much Carry the Load swag can they get if you raise $250 or more a year. Basically, the kids did it because they asked everybody, for every mile I walk, will you donate $1? And people did. Communities are really willing to support this. So $250 more, you get the Load Carrier t-shirt, which is the special one. But it's a lovely t-shirt. It's a great memory to have throughout the year. And I wanted to circle back because we were talking about 9/11. It's been so long that my kids who are teenagers learn about 9/11 in history books. I think you said that. They don't have a vivid memory of where they were that day. And, I was living on an Army base in Fort Knox, right? Our whole community went into lockdown and the world changed. We've been a training military for so many years. And so my kids have grown up with us being mostly an at-war world. They don't know any different. On Patriots Day, which is what we call 9/11, every year we host headstone cleaning parties at the National Cemetery. So if you don't come out for Memorial Day because the related timing doesn't work out or you don't want to walk, you can come on September 11th. You go to the website and they'll tell you the time. We usually start about 9 in the morning. It, for the past 7 years, has been, every year it's been a glorious, sunny, beautiful day. You clean the headstones, most of which are so old, you can't use soap. So
Right.
You really literally use water and yellow sponges to gently remove any detritus that is accumulated over the year. But again, another amazing opportunity to read somebody's name and their dates of service and their death and honor their legacy. It's just a heartwarming way to take a moment, to really take a moment and reflect on the ways that the world changed on 9/11, and we're still living with those repercussions. So I just wanted to throw that out there before I forgot.
It is an amazing group, and you get to meet for the Patriots Day at the cemeteries. You get to meet so many different people. There's not always a service member, but service connected in some way, whether it's a grandson, a son, daughter. But I've met a lot of grands along the way at the events out here in the DFW cemetery.
Well, and people always, especially work people who I drag with me, I volunteer them to do this. They always feel like, well, I'm an outsider and I don't want to intrude on Memorial Day or Patriots Day. You know what? You're an American. And we're in the fight together. So if you don't know and you don't feel like you belong, that's on you. That's not on us. We are welcoming. We are arms wide open. Come and learn. Come and feel the connection. And I promise you, somebody within 2 degrees of you has served, whether you know it or not. And it does kind of light the fire in people to say, oh, maybe I should, my uncle mentioned this location. Maybe I should find out more about his service. And I love that. I love broadening the spectrum, the military affiliated, right? The first responders, really the people of service in our community. It counts. It matters.
You mentioned the learning piece and your kids, not being alive on 9/11, and it's pretty sad. The schools, when we go, John and I, to speak, it's like, oh yeah, the planes flew into the towers. That's all they know. They don't really know the history and exactly the players. But Carry the Load has gone one step further with the Carry the Flag program that does happen in the schools. Can you just touch on that as well?
Absolutely. I didn't answer your question earlier. The way I became an ambassador was that there are so many locations across the nation, and Carry the Load is a small volunteer-run nonprofit. 93% of every penny donated goes out the door to one of our 46 partner organizations, Badge of Honor being one of them. So they recruited some very passionate people in different locations, and Carry the Flag is a program that the schools can actually request a veteran or a first responder or an ambassador to come in and talk about our experiences, talk about our service, talk about 9/11. We call it Carry the Flag, and it is about inspiring the next generation to serve, but also to ensure that they understand the service and sacrifice and to really put a name to a face. Again, community connections, connecting the past and the present. It doesn't have to be amorphous. It doesn't have to be something you talk about. It can be somebody you know. So kind of like take your kid to work day or career professional day. Now it's bring a veteran or a first responder to school day. It's again really rewarding, and kids always ask the damnedest questions. I mentioned, sorry, see, we made it like 30 minutes in before my first cuss word. I mentioned that I had served in Korea and South Korea, and one of the little boys goes, well, you look really good for being as old as my grandpa, because he was in Korea too.
Oh, that's the Korean War.
I laughed so hard. It was the best.
Out of the mouths of babes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, because I guess I'm like, you know what? That is true. Do you know what an armistice is? Like, let me teach you that technically we are still, that is considered a zone. And if you didn't know, there was an amazing organization. They have the biggest coin you'll ever see. I have it back here somewhere.
She's got a lot of
Korean War veterans. If you know any, you can encourage them. There are very few of them still, but a few years ago there was an act passed that they're eligible for a combat ribbon. So if you know any Korean War veterans, you have an uncle or an aunt that didn't get recognition, they can apply to have that added to their DD 214. So it's a little bit belated, but it's kind of exciting. It's recognition. Never too late for recognition.
No, and that's a huge thing because they get what they deserve. You know, they fought, they died for this, and some people didn't know how to go about a lot of these things, or the bureaucracy they got fed up with. So this is good. This is another good resource to honor your family member.
There's always a way. We're actually doing something really cool tomorrow. It's actually a Netflix movie. There was a unit of all Black, all female postal battalion back in World War II. Oh gosh, I could kick myself. The movie I think is actually called 6888. So it's 6888. And the unit went overseas. They did something that nobody said could be done. They cleared this huge backlog of mail in an active war zone in World War II. And they came back and were not met with parades or pats on the back. They were pretty much sent home, disbanded, and went about their way. So many, many, many years later, tomorrow we fought to get them a Congressional Gold Medal for their efforts. And tomorrow is actually the ceremony. We're going to go down to the speaker's office, and they'll present the last, I think it's only 2 remaining members that are alive. So It's never too late, John. It's never too late. One of the women, I think she's 103.
Wow, that's amazing. You say it's never too late, and part of it, it's one of the most meaningful parts of Dallas Memorial March is remembering and our Vietnam veterans. My dad volunteered during Vietnam, and they are still forgotten. And the fact that Clint Bruce and Stephen Holley made a promise when Carry the Load was first created that they would not be forgotten. And I still meet Vietnam veterans, whether it's at Walmart or just out and about, and to say, I say thank you, and some of them are kind of caught off guard, and they forget that they're either wearing a shirt or a hat. But they still go around and people just pass by like it's any other day. And, I couldn't understand, obviously being brought up in a military family, the like how our country could not honor. They took up arms. They were sent there. Some of them not by choice. It was like, choose this or this, you're going.
It's the lack of education, Sam.
Yeah.
And this is what this is all about. It's the lack of education. Every kid has their phone in head in TikTok, and they don't show this. Yeah, well, it's not to go into politics, but it's the purposeful lack of education, which hopefully more patriot groups around are we're turning it around, because it's part of our history. Like it or don't, people died, and they deserve to be honored. So they do. They're I know, because I can talk about all these programs. There is actually a very specific Vietnam veteran pin. And if you know a Vietnam veteran that hasn't been pinned, it's just a little pin and on the back it says, thanks from a grateful nation. Mm-hmm. The President Trump under the first administration passed March 29th as the official Vietnam War Veteran Day. So on March 29th, that we go down to DC to the Veteran Memorial, Vietnam Veteran Memorial, and we hand out those pins. And I just happened to be in service at the VA when that first event was happening. And so here's me in my little fancy dress, and we pinned some veterans. We had the Secretary of, DOD and VA and Homeland Security, and we found 15 veterans that had never been pinned. It was amazing. But for the rest of the day, I carried a little bag, and every person that visited, I said, sir, can I offer you a pin and a hug? I don't have much more than that, but thanks from a grateful nation. The number of wives who circled back and cried on my shoulder and said, nobody has ever thanked my husband, and I've been with them for 40 years. I could tear up talking about it. It does matter. If you have a Vietnam veteran in your life, or a unit, Legion or VFW post, if you know somebody, they can write to the VA. They will mail them the pin and a proclamation that is signed by the sitting president. So it changes. It's a standard proclamation, but whoever's in office at time signs it, and they will mail it to them. There is an actual effort to continuously recognize our Vietnam vets. You want to read a heartbreaking book or two that will give you this, again, the horrors of what they went through.
there's two books. One is The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien, and the other is Matterhorn. And again, the author slipped out of my head. Very thick book. You got to read it with it'll
lots of deep breaths on that one.
It's a lot of deep breaths, but the value, the education, the stories, the realities, I think we don't recognize it. War sounds really sanitized from this side of the TikTok.
You're right.
Yeah, because we see it covered only on the news. We're not boots on the ground. Hey, we got to take our next break. Quick station identification break. We will be right back. Stay tuned, everybody.
Leftovers again? It's time for something we haven't had in a long time. It's time for something right. It's time to make the right choice. OBBM Network TV is always the right choice. Choose right.
Hey, welcome back to Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam and Carry the Load Ambassador Danielle Applegate. If you're just tuning in now, the stories are only getting better. It's honor for our veterans, past and present. And what's going to happen here in May is amazing. So if you've never heard about Carry the Load, Dallas is the ending point of 5 different states walking over 20,000 miles.
5 relays.
5 relays.
Yeah. Not 5 states.
Oh, 5.
Yeah.
But they start in 5 states, right?
So yeah, they do start in 5 states. They hit all 48.
Okay.
All 48
contiguous states. So we don't go to Alaska, Puerto Rico, or Hawaii. That would be hard to walk. We haven't figured out the walking on water yet, but yes, they start at the top.
What are some of the states they start in?
These are good questions. It's so we start in West Point. I think there's one in Buffalo, Wisconsin, and then maybe Portland. They do tend to vary starts sometimes because the cemeteries have to sign up to participate. So we are a little flexible with the starting points. But they basically have planned the route every year so that they can hit as many of the national cemeteries and really break it up into manageable 2 to 4 mile relay pieces. So you can join. It's only a couple of hours. If you go to the website and find the location nearest you, some of the locations are what we call rally points, where you will actually have, you'll see a little flyer and it'll have an agenda. So at those, we usually have special guest speakers. Generally, there's an ambassador there. We do a little bit more. We try to bring in somebody to tell a story about the cemetery or somebody that we're carrying. So those take a little longer. That's usually about 2.5 hours. But it's really great. You can take turns carrying the guide on. You talk to the crew that does the whole route from the top of the country down. They have some amazing stories. And then really proudly wear the person if you are honoring somebody specific. And field the questions. Do the hard work. I think, like you said, Sam, it's solemn, it's somber, but it's very meaningful. And it's helpful to be around people that want to listen.
Yeah. And it is kid friendly. So you can bring your kids. You guys have done a fantastic job. There's a whole kid area set up. If there's one place where your kids are safe to run around, I promise you Carry the Load and Dallas and Reverchon Park is one of those safe places because we've had, since our kid was little going there. And, I want to touch on Dallas Memorial March. So 5 relays culminate into Dallas. And everybody there gets to meet the nonprofit partners. Yeah. And we, as nonprofit partners, get to meet each other because we're spread out all over the U.S. As well. Can you talk a little bit about the Continuum of Care program and what that means?
So we spend a lot of time and money recruiting people into the military. We spend an awful lot of time and money training them. And when they leave the military, they live in different shades of gray, right? Some people do 20 years and they've never had a civilian job. Other people do 4 years and they get out like me. And, I had bad feet, so I couldn't go back to working retail because I couldn't stand up any longer. We see families that don't have financial literacy. We see PTSI victims. We see a lot of the transition pieces that come with returning back to civilian life are not met by the government. They really are met by the nonprofit community. So Carry the Load, when we raise money, I think I said this earlier, 93 cents of every dollar goes back to the community. So in 14 years, we've raised just over $46 million. And we have 46, I know, right? Every time I say the number, I'm like, oh, so impressive. Not me, the amazing team at Carry the Load. I just talk. We have a team that vets new nonprofit partners, and we basically meet the needs as we see them. So is it food insecurity? Is it equine therapy? Is it some of the the new training, cultural awareness? Is it, partners like Badge of Honor? I was going to say carry the load, but I'm reading my own shirt. It's not working. I think when we talk about service dogs and job placement, everybody has a need. And I think Carry the Load has done a really great job at creating a continuum. You maybe don't need equine therapy right now, but you might need job placement. You might need somebody to call, might need a peer counselor. So we heavily vet them. We turn the money straight directly over to them. And really that continues to allow us to thrive as a community. You're only as strong as your weakest link, right? And we can't leave our soldiers, our vets, our first responders in a place of pain. And it can be as simple as a financial literacy course. Look, I was 17 when I went in. I didn't know how to balance a budget, a checkbook. I remember getting my first civilian job and somebody handed me this big, thick stack of papers. And I said, what is this? And they said, well, it's health insurance. You've to sign up for health insurance. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. My whole life, right? I'd had training. Right. I was born military. I was in the military. I was shocked.
Yeah, if you got sick, you just went to the doctor, right?
Went to sick call. I didn't know what copays were. I was so shocked. And so even thinking about something as small as that, if you didn't know that and you went to an ER and you got a $10,000 bill, right? What would you do? Who would you turn to for help? The Carry the Load continuum of care really allows us to plug some of those gaps that the government does not plug. And in conjunction, by the way, in partnership with the government often, and like the state of Texas has the fantastic Texas Veterans Commission run by Tom Palladino. They do a ton of events and outreach, and there's a local person in your community if you do need help. But organizations that come together to make a difference.
Yeah. And it's made a difference for us as a nonprofit, not only the partnership and the money from Carry the Load that's allows us to do what we do, but it's also, hey, veterans, first responders, we've got these nonprofit partners that do this with us. And so they're part of our website. They're part of our programming. We talk about them all the time when we're doing our workshops to be like, it's not one size fits all when it comes to treatment or what you need. So, they get the training and the awareness on the post-traumatic stress and suicide prevention. But maybe they know they need help, but they don't want to sit on a couch. Boom. Heroes on the water.
Equine therapy. Yeah.
Exactly. Equine therapy. It's and on and on and on and on. But the whole point is you now have a network. You have a safety net, is what we say, and we're not letting you go.
Well, and they're also what I think is really important, and kudos to you guys. Our standards are really high. These are vetted nonprofits that have passed a background check, that aren't misusing the money, that are really producing outcomes and great results. These aren't fly-by-night organizations. And I think when you get out and somebody says, hey, I can help you, $10, you don't know better. Yeah. It's really hard unless you've ever learned to read a 990 or really understand the difference between correlation and causation, how some of the outcomes can be skewed. And so I think Carry the Load does a great job of really picking strong partners that can work together. And really, I like the social safety net.
That's a big thing for all our first responders and our veterans, because a lot of them are frustrated when they email somebody, they're not getting back. They're making a phone call, they're not getting their call back, or getting put on hold. They can come to this event and actually meet and greet face to face with all these different organizations, be it whatever you're battling, whatever your needs are. There's somebody there that can help you, and you can speak to them face to face. They're going to take the time for you that day.
It's true. And in that connection, it maybe they don't have the answer, but they'll know somebody that will. And I think I spend a lot of time trying to convince people to come back and ask, because they all have the stories. And I say, look, if whoever you called didn't give you the answer I just gave you, hang up and call back, wait for the next person to answer.
There you go. Exactly. We got to take our last quick break. We will be right back to wrap up. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
Rise and vibe with your new elevated morning ritual. Meet Rise by Frequency Charged Nutrition. Rise is formulated with a blend of 7 different organic mushrooms, B vitamins, amino acids, and green coffee bean extract. Rise supports brain health, performance, and focus while enhancing mood, mental clarity, and energy. Enjoy the delicious mango lemonade flavor while giving your mind the nutrients it needs. Get charged up with Rise. Fuel your body and mind today.
Hey, rise and vibe with me and John. You hear about it every week when you tune in. Guys, this stuff is for real, because what does a career as a first responder, a career in any kind of service do? What does it do to the brain? You don't get good sleep. Your body gets broken down. You got aches and pains as you get older. And Rise is one of those things that can solve the big conundrum of, why do I feel this way every single day? Because it's putting science proven and science backed nutrition to your brain. That, which means it goes to your body. It has got no sugar. It is so that means it's keto friendly. I use it as a pre-workout every single day. You can combine these with other wonderful vitamins, minerals that you may take already. I combine it with Source, and it gives me the energy throughout the day. And that's the difference. It's not like these sugar-laden, nasty energy drinks that, come on, first responders. If you're one that's addicted, we know a lot. Yeah, you go on that roller coaster ride. Yep. We promise you that Rise doesn't take you on that roller coaster ride. Take it once, twice throughout the day, and you are set. It's, again, especially with the shift work and lack of sound sleep. We've made it super easy for you to get. Simply visit abadgeofhonorhealth.com. That's abadgeofhonorhealth.com. We've got packages put together for you. So rise and vibe with me and John. You will not regret it. Now, back to the show.
Hey, welcome back, Danielle. Danielle, the ambassador for Carry the Load, which is coming up right in May. What is the date that it's going to? I know it's kicking off tomorrow.
Today.
Today. Oh, it's kicked off today. And when does everybody get to Dallas? What day?
So Dallas is actually on Memorial Day. So down, I think the 31st is a Saturday this year. You have to bear with my dates. Coming through my area here in DC on Sunday. So we're very excited to see people then. But go ahead, Sam. Is it Sunday?
I was going to say it's over Memorial Day weekend. So that's Sunday, Monday. I believe it's the 25th, 26th.
The one thing I wanted to ask, and I think Sam, correct me because my memory's shot. The Carry the Load buses with the pictures of our first responders and our veterans. Those are not just silhouettes taken off clip art. Those are real life people. And I think last year we got to meet the female officer who was placed on the bus, and she was so excited when she showed up there that that she was chosen to be on that bus.
Oh, Karina. Yeah, the veteran.
Yes.
Veteran.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
She was a veteran, right.
Yeah.
And it was like, there's no better way to honor. I know you can't honor everybody, but you can honor some. And tell us a little bit about that, how that program works for somebody that may want to be part of that.
Yeah, so I think they're collecting names and tributes on the website. So if you've loved and lost somebody, you can go on the website and put a tribute up about the person and their service, and then we will select somebody. I have a freakier story. When I went out for the first time for Carry the Load, I, of course, dragged my kids and my boyfriend with me, and he's a retired Marine. When the bus pulled up, the woman on the side was Major Megan McClung, and she was his soldier, his Marine in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Wow.
And he was like, "Did you know?" And I said, "I didn't know." He had written for my kids the name of somebody that they could carry, and it was her. And I thought,
your boyfriend gets mad at you, there is no such thing as a retired Marine.
Right.
There's no such thing as a former Marine.
There's no former retired Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine.
I should have just said Marine. No, so we're very excited. The buses are beautiful. There are always, I think you mentioned, coming into Dallas, you'll see a lot of the cardboard setups with the names and histories of folks. Usually at the relays, that we have a couple of those set up that travel with the buses, and then of course the names and faces on the buses. It's truly heartwarming. It's a great event. We can't thank you guys enough for giving us the opportunity to talk about it and joining us and being our partners.
Absolutely. So where can I had the website carrytheload.org for everybody listening on their favorite podcast app. Where else can people follow Carry the Load? Because you guys are everywhere on social.
We are everywhere. I am a big fan of LinkedIn because that is where I do most of my social media, but we are also on Facebook. So Carry the Load on both of the platforms.
And everywhere. So on Instagram, hey Instagram fam, if you're watching on Instagram, thank you for sticking with us. Made some changes. Also Twitter or X.
I was gonna say X.
Dates me, but yes,
The former Twitter.
The former Twitter.
I'm still on MySpace. I think I'm Tom's only friend. I am Tom's only friend. I'm still on MySpace. I got glitter and crap on there.
I love it.
Oh, no matter where you play on social media, connect with Carry the Load. And it is get out into the community, go to the website, find out where they're going to be in your community. You can walk or go to one of the community events that they're going to have. I think you guys are doing one over here near me in Rockwall. And we just thank you so much for spending this time with us, for really explaining and going in deep to let everybody know how they can be a part of it, even though they can't be here with us in Dallas. You're in Alexandria in Northern Virginia, how they can, East Coast, get out and meet Danielle.
Yeah.
If you're watching, we got an East Coast crew, and it's just been great. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your service, and thank you for the nonprofit. I know it sounds easy to say, but they're a lot more work. It is a labor of love. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, we will see you soon.
All right. Have a great day.
Take care.
I can't imagine the coordination that, just like when she said about the boards coming in, the walking of the boards, last year there were hundreds of people, and the coordination just in that alone, you have 5 relays coming up, the coordination in that, they run this thing flawlessly. There may be hiccups that we don't see, but every year it's been flawless. From parking to getting in and getting out, it has been an amazing event.
Start time, the whole thing. I mean, they have it down, and it is a feat, I'll say, like no other, certainly, that I have ever seen. And like I said, I've been doing it for a decade, and it just seems to get better every single year. So get out again. I'll put the website up, carrytheload.org, to find out more about the organization. And part of that is you can find us and participate with us. Again, it doesn't matter where you are throughout the U.S. You can join our team after you register yourself as an individual. Just look up a team, a badge of honor. That's our team. And you can fundraise right there. In the show notes, I have our direct link to our team where you can go there. You can join as well as donate, because you heard Danielle say, we Carry the Load can't do it without us. And so we are their fundraising arm. You watching are their fundraising arm to remember, honor, and celebrate our fallen heroes. And so the entire month of May 1st, believe it or not, is Thursday, over here in my neck of the woods in Rockwall, an amazing group called Patriots Pour. It was started by a Navy corpsman, and he gets veterans and patriots together every Thursday night. They pick a nonprofit to honor, and they ask for $2. That's it. No heavy lifting. So the entire month of May, we were chosen as their nonprofit partner, giving forward to Carry the Load. So come on out to San Jacinto Plaza in Rockwall, Texas. You'll see. I'll put everything up on as we share the show. But it's Thursday night from 5 to 6:30 p.m. So every Thursday this month, the month of May. Come on out, meet veterans, meet firefighters, police officers, say thank you, $2 donation ask, no heavy lifting. And we've got a lot of great restaurants and stuff. So we'll be in the plaza, so you can grab your drink wherever you want. Hence the name Patriots Pour. Meet us, because we'd love to meet you and say thank you in person for your support. And know that everything that is donated goes right through us to Carry the Load. So we thank you in advance. If you have any questions, just reach out to us directly on our website, super easy, a badgeofhonor.org. Also, this Friday, this is your last chance to sign up. active first responders and any veteran that's an active first responder, we have got a workshop, post-traumatic stress awareness, wellness resiliency workshop. Thank you to Rowlett, Fire Station number 2, who is hosting that. We got breakfast, we got lunch, we got knowledge getting poured into you at that event. It is for the first responders that are in law enforcement. 8 hours of TCOL are available for you there. So get signed up because registration is closing. And again, all the thanks to Carry the Load. Without them, we cannot do our programming the way we're doing it. And I didn't get a chance to tell Danielle on the show, but I will say because of Carry the Load and their Continuum of Care program that we are a part of, along with our 45 other partners, we were able to put a new program into place. And we've already done, we had a group of police officers that were part of their peer support in their department. It was a phenomenal event. Garland Police Department hosted us. So now we're able to do even more of that without charge. And that's what it means to us, that we're able to just pour in more and help save lives. So thank you so much to Carry the Load. Go to badgeofhonor.org. We'll be changing that pop-up to where you can find out more about how to direct donate and be part of our team for Carry the Load here soon. So to all of our first responders out there, you got prayer warriors that are praying for your safe return to home every single night. Thank you for caring for our communities. To our veterans out there, thank you for putting in the good fight that allows John and I to do a show like this every single week. To our active duty personnel spread out across the globe, we are praying for your safe return. Hang in there. Hopefully you'll be back sooner rather than later, especially if you're around a war zone. We are thinking about you. We are praying for you. Thank you for keeping our shores safe here at home. John, take us home.
Well, if just remember a veteran, say thank you to a veteran, honor a veteran. Put that American flag in your front yard, fly it proudly. Don't ever let anybody say differently. And remember those who we lost. Memorial Day, like you said, Sam, is about the memory, not the mattress sales. Peace.
Till next week, everybody. Take care.
A Badge of Honor podcast is produced for the OBBM Network podcast and protected under copyright law. For content permissions, please submit your request to abadgeofhonor.com on the content page. For OBBM Network programming information, please call 214-714-0495 today.